Hello, welcome to Season 2 Spark edition of Investment Insider, brought to you by Invest Selangor. My name is Cynthia Ng, your host for this series. In this Spark edition, we will take a closer look at Port Klang, Malaysia's most important gateway for trade and maritime shipping. Port Klang is located in one of the world's busiest sea lanes, the Straits of Malacca. In this episode, we will find out how three organizations are driving the growth of the port terminal as it becomes an increasingly integral player in the global supply chain. Joining me right now is Captain K. Subramaniam, General Manager of Port Klang Authority, a statutory body that develops, regulates and facilitates trade in Malaysia's most important port terminal. It's great to have you here, Captain, and welcome to Investment Insider. Port Klang is Malaysia's largest container port. In fact, top 12 in the world, connecting Malaysia with more than 350 ports in over 130 countries across the globe. Tell us, Captain, about the potential of Port Klang, especially against peers like Singapore and Shanghai in this part of the world.
So, if you look at us against Singapore, or for that matter, you mentioned Shanghai in China, Singapore would be a closer comparison to us because they are located, just down the road, if I may say. But it all depends on our services, the quality of the services, how we provide, for the requirements of shipping lines. Shipping lines today are demanding that we provide them the top quality services. Today, we can take the biggest container ship that is afloat, 24,000 TEUs, without a problem. We have got systems, digital systems, the terminal operating systems that are able to facilitate and speed up our transactions. So these are some of the factors that are working to our advantage. But generally, of course, we have competitive ports around the area and region. And certainly, we have to do more to stay in the game.
Now, speaking of doing more, Captain, the COVID pandemic has highlighted the importance of ports and shipping terminals as the backbone of the global supply chain as air cargo flows were disrupted, especially in the beginning part of last year. Now, can you share with us, Captain, the impact of the pandemic on Port Klang in terms of demand and volume growth that you're seeing?
Last year, we did 13.2 million. That was actually a dip compared to 2019 when we did almost 13.6 million. So the drop last year was anticipated because we had a very bad period between March and June of last year. That was the beginning of the epidemic, and there was practically lockdown all over the world. But after July of last year, we suddenly saw the volumes picking up because countries got used to SOPs. They started opening up their industries and so on. But comparison with last year may not be the right measure. So what we do, we compare it with 2019, and we are still growing by about 6 to 7%. So this year, I'm optimistic. I think we can do 13.5, 13.6 million. But if the current trend continues until the year end, I think we can break the 14 million TEUs mark for the first time.
14 million TEUs. And how do you plan to achieve that? And also, Captain, if you can share with us the expansion plans for Port Klang to cater to that growing demand.
4 years ago, we presented to the government an expansion plan for Westports. We're going to expand the existing terminal by another 5 kilometers. We'll be adding about 13.5 million TEUs capacity. But this project will be over the next 20 years. After Westports Phase 2, we are looking at an island nearby Port Klang, which is known as Carey Island. It's right at the entrance to Port Klang. Very, very good location with natural deep waters. And we are already doing a study on that island now. Look at the possibility of setting up our third terminal there. So that will be our long-term plan. So Westport Phase 2 first, short to medium, and longer term will be Carey Island.
Thank you, Captain, for outlining the short and long-term plans for Port Klang. Once again, thank you for coming on the show. We are going to take a quick break. Next, joining me is Dato' Ruben Emir Ganalingham, Managing Director of Westports, Malaysia. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Investment Insider with me, Cynthia Ng. Joining me right now is Dato' Ruben Emir Ganalingham, Group Managing Director of Westports Malaysia. Ruben, thank you so much for making time to speak with me and welcome to Investment Insider. We are very excited about the Westport 2 expansion plan, which I understand, Ruben, will increase capacity by as much as 50%. Talk to us about the progress of the project.
Sure. So the project now is still in the discussion stage with the government. We hope to conclude it as soon as possible. I think those in the government are really supportive of trying to get this done as quickly as possible. Of course, unfortunately, with elements such as lockdowns, it's a bit more difficult to get these things through quickly. But definitely, we're trying our best. All parties are trying their best to get it done. When it's ready, of course, it will take about 3 to 4 years to build the first phase of that. And it will obviously increase our capacity to bring in a lot more cargo. Currently itself, the volume is actually still growing, and we still have a little bit more capacity to grow with as it is over the next few years. So this is actually more for very long-term planning, and it will be, the whole project is meant to be built out over 20 to 40 years. So it's not an immediate thing, and it's more for catering for the long term.
Thanks for that, Ruben. So let's then talk about the more immediate plans and targets. With the pandemic still raging in many parts of the world, are you feeling optimistic about growth this year?
So our target, we usually a bit conservative when we set targets for the year, and this year we've set a target of basically a low single-digit number of growth. The reason we're cautious is because there's a lot of uncertainty still this year. There are a lot of supply chain issues which really could hamper a lot of growth. But it's the rest of the year that I think we have to be cautious about. Whilst goods are still moving quite freely, without real strong economic activity worldwide, there's no reason for the goods to continue to grow very strongly, persistently either. And therefore, I think the question will really be when economies can open up, number one, and also when the supply chain will get back to normal. There are lots of disruptions now in the supply chain because of lockdowns and different rules and between different countries, etc. So we have to be careful and conscious about those, and that's why I think we've set a very modest, reasonable target. And despite the fact that we expect to have a good first half of the year, we have to be cautious throughout the whole year.
Now, Ruben, I want to turn the discussion to strategies and really keeping the eye on the ball. Amid the uncertainties that we are facing right now, how do you plan to keep Westports as the leading mega transshipment hub in Malaysia?
So I think, with regards to being the transshipment hub, we've always focused on our strengths, which is to serve our customers as fast as we can and to turn on the vessels. But of course, we're looking into other areas such as polymers and other transshipment activities here to enhance our abilities as well. But the focus is always going to be about how we serve our customers as fast as we can. And getting their ships in and out quickly has always been our focus. That's the biggest cost element to them, wasting time. Now, a lot of these things come a lot with a lot of the new technology that are coming out recently, which is digitalization and automation and things like that. And I think a lot of our focus has been, since the lockdown and even before that, or since COVID started and before that, we've been focusing on those kind of projects. So, to try and digitalize as much as we can, to try and automate as much as we can, and also now, very importantly, to try and be as sustainable as we can.
Thank you so much, Ruben, for sharing your insights, and we wish you all the best in your plans to take Westports to the next level. We will take a quick break. When we come back, we will be taking a closer look at Malaysia's pioneering fully integrated free commercial and industrial zone. Stay with us.
At present, Invest Selangor offers complimentary services to all current and future investors coming into Selangor.
Welcome back to Investment Insider with me, Cynthia Ng, your host for this series. Joining me right now is Mr. Loh Chee Kan, CEO of Klang Free Zone. Welcome, and it's great to have you here, Mr. Loh. This is indeed a challenging time for businesses globally as the pandemic has disrupted global supply chains. Can you walk us through how 𝐃𝐓𝐍 has been impacted by the disruptions brought upon by COVID?
For 𝐃𝐓𝐍, as a free zone that provides integrated dynamic solutions, we are somehow seeing growth during this period of pandemic. A lot of warehouses for storage purpose are fully taken up actually. People are looking for places to store their goods due to the restrictions in moving the goods around MCO period. So in a nutshell, we are seeing an increase of about 22%, which is equivalent to about 481,000 20 equivalent units of containers, which is also amounting to about 4.5 million freight weight tonnage of cargo during this period.
22%, that's excellent growth rate. Now, if you can share with us then, Mr. Loh, what are the sectors that are contributing to the increase in demand? And is 𝐃𝐓𝐍 looking to invest more to cater to this demand?
Okay, since it started operations about 15 over years ago, total investment in 𝐃𝐓𝐍 has already amounted to about 1.3 billion ringgit Malaysia. To date, there are about 70 companies operating on a long-term tenancy model with us, and there are about another 100 companies who operate here, occupying our light industrial units.
And how do you plan to meet this increased appetite for spaces and warehousing units? I suppose if you can share with us, Mr. Loh, what are 𝐃𝐓𝐍's plans to drive future growth?
In the immediate short term is to look at internally to do a redevelopment of our current industrial unit. Another aspect that we are looking also to ensure that we digitize as much as possible our operations, where the use of IT to assist smoothen the operations as when we operate with the government agency working hand in hand to cut short the cycle time and to provide the convenience to the logistic players in this free zone area and these regions.
Can you talk to us about 𝐃𝐓𝐍's partnership with Invest Selangor and how has it helped in the growth of the industrial zone?
Invest Selangor has been very supportive in promoting 𝐃𝐓𝐍 from the very early days. Whenever they were having an opportunity for us to engage with the potential clients and investors, we are being alerted, and we are more than happy to participate and work hand in hand with Invest Selangor to find a product or a service that will meet the expectations of the investor and together bring a successful investment into 𝐃𝐓𝐍.
Thank you, Mr. Loh, for talking to us about 𝐃𝐓𝐍's plans, and we wish you nothing but success. You have been watching Investment Insider with me, Cynthia Ng. We will see you again in the next episode.
Selangor is the most attractive investment destination. Find out how we can assist you at www.investselangor.my. Join us again in the next episode.